Hey guys, Big Films 39 here with my movie review of Spectre. Stick around until the end of the video if you want to hear my thoughts on a specific spoiler. Alright, so let's cut to the chase. Is Spectre the greatest Bond movie to ever come out? Is it even as good as Casino Royale or Skyfall? Well, going into the movie, I was hoping that Quantum of Solace could be that one odd movie out of the series, the one that just wasn't very good, that you have to give filmmakers a chance to mess up on and hopefully figure things out with. But Spectre for me was a disappointing movie. Still a lot better than Quantum of Solace, but not nearly as good as Casino Royale or Skyfall. I suspected this going in, but the plot of Spectre felt a lot like that of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation to me. And it's just this formula that you're getting in all of the espionage, spy, thriller movies today. It feels very tired at this point. And again, this was the biggest problem with Spectre. The plot of the movie is that James Bond is trying to uncover this secret terrorist organization that is bent on, the typical world domination thing. They're responsible, for all of these disasters going on in different countries. Again, basically the exact same thing that happened in Rogue Nation. And of course, you have to have the internal corruption going on with Bond's agency, MI6. They're merging with some bigger intelligence agency, and they very loosely and weakly try to connect this to what's going on with Spectre. And every time they were fleshing out this side story, I just was completely taken out of the movie. It was so uninteresting, so unnecessary, and every time that came on the screen, I was just thinking, like, who gives a crap about this? So that subplot was really terrible. But again, the main plot, Bond is just trying to uncover this terrorist organization, and what made Skyfall and Casino Royale such great movies for me was that they had really great villains, and they were individual people trying to accomplish, their own objectives. They were trying to do something bad on their own. And this movie, I think, could have been so much better if they had just made Christoph Waltz the main villain, have him, try to accomplish something that whatever he wanted to do, make him the villain and have Bond face him. And here, because the movie focuses on this organization, Spectre, rather than an individual villain, and an organization that, is just trying to wreak havoc and, take over the world and cause chaos and all this, because the movie focuses on that, it just, really lessens Bond as the protagonist. Everything he does just does not feel compelling. It doesn't feel like it has a purpose. And the villain too, which there really wasn't one, it was more just about Spectre, but Christoph Waltz, this guy's an amazing actor, and for the limited amount of screen time he had, his dialogue was just so amazing and really great to listen to. But again, as a villain, he just felt like he had no purpose. He didn't really have anything he was trying to accomplish on his own. He was just kind of a figurehead for this big organization. And besides that, the focus on this terrorist group as the villain, besides that focus really made both the protagonist and the villain in the movie very weak. They tried to be way too clever, and it just came off as very fabricated and as a big gimmick. This Spectre organization is supposedly responsible for all the other events in the other Bond movies, all the other villains, and they don't even really bother to explain it. It's just all part of a bigger conspiracy, a bigger scheme going on, and it just felt like the biggest gimmick ever to me. And I'm going to talk more about this in the spoiler part of my review at the end. Now, what does Spectre get right? Well, the action scenes are good, like I said, especially one between Bond and Bautista, which was a lot of fun. But Bautista, if you consider his character, he really just plays this big dumb brute, and it made for a great fight scene. I thought it reminded me a lot of Odd Job from Goldfinger, kind of paying homage to the older Bond films. But Dave Bautista's character, he's this big dumb brute, and when consider that he's part of this bigger organization that is very secretive, and they're hatching all of these really elaborate schemes. When you realize this guy doesn't say a word throughout the movie, it's like, where did this guy come from, and what the hell is he doing here? He doesn't belong with this organization. He's just kind of a guy out there for Bond to fight, and it just kind of adds to this feeling of fabrication with the entire plot. Nothing really feels sensible or natural. But like I was saying, what does Spectre get right? Well, the action scenes are a lot of fun. And that's about it. And honestly, as an action movie, I think this movie had more action in totality than Spectre or than Skyfall or Casino Royale. But if you were to ask me what's the better action movie, I would without hesitation say Casino Royale or Skyfall. The action in this movie, the scenes were spaced too far out from each other. The movie's very slow moving in the beginning. I mean, with how shallow this plot was, and really considering that nothing really happened, it's just kind of about this organization that's abstract and far off, and Bond's just trying to uncover them. With how simple the plot is, they could have told this story in like an hour and a half. Instead, the movie is over 2 hours. It just feels very drawn out at parts, unnecessarily so, very slow moving, and it just again ties into this problem that the movie is just trying to be like all encompassing. They go from country to country, and they try to have this big elaborate conspiracy where everything that happened in all the other Bond movies is tied in here, and it just feels like a very shallow, weak plot. The beginning of the movie, the introduction, this opening scene where Bond is in Mexico and there's this big Day of the Dead celebration going on. Everyone's wearing Day of the Dead skull masks and skull masks. And I thought again they were paying homage to an older Bond movie, Live and Let Die, where they were using similar skull face paint down in Louisiana with a voodoo theme. This opening scene was incredible. They used the tracking shot. It looked beautiful. It looked better than the rest of the movie, honestly. And, it had action. It was really big and grand, and it really got your blood pumping. But after that, they just go into this really weak plot. And if they had just kept Bond in Mexico and had Christoph Waltz be the main character, have him and Bond face off down in Mexico, give Christoph Waltz his own agenda as a villain, I think that would have been cool as fuck to have Bond and Christoph Waltz going at it. But instead, Waltz gets very limited screen time at this movie. He's really kind of overshadowed by Spectre and this bigger terrorist organization out there, and everything that Bond does, and even what Christoph Waltz does, it just doesn't feel like it has any purpose. So Spectre was disappointing for me, and I just feel like watching Casino Royale or Skyfall after this movie. Still, some bright spots with the action. Daniel Craig, he does a decent job acting as Bond. I mean, it wasn't really worse than his performances in the other movies, which were good. So I'm gonna give Spectre a B. Maybe I was being too hard on it just because I really wanted this to be great. I thought Casino Royale was great. I thought Skyfall was even better, and I was expecting this movie to be better. It's watchable, but the plot is just very average, very weak. I really feel like they just kind of took the easy way out and tried to be too clever and impressive without creating an original creative story. So I'm going to give Spectre a B. Now, on to the spoiler part of my review. I'm just going to mention one plot point that I already touched on. But where when I said the movie tries to go deeper, they talk about Bond's personal past, and Christoph Waltz, he is actually Bond's adopted brother. Bond explains this in the movie. He was his parents, I think, died somehow, and he was adopted by Christoph Waltz's character's parents, and because they took a liking to Bond, and they took attention away from Waltz, he became resentful toward his parents, and he killed his father in some skiing accident, I believe. And Bond, everyone thought this guy was dead, and Bond, of course, discovers that he's the head of this Spectre organization and realizes that it's his brother from his childhood. And I mean, come on. Like I said, this just feels completely fabricated. It's like the biggest gimmick ever. I liked this element, I did, but not when you make Christoph Waltz the leader of the biggest terrorist organization in the world, the most secretive thing ever. He's basically, I guess, responsible for all of the villains that Bond fought in the past. You just can't do that. How is the world's leading terrorist also going to be your brother from your childhood and you didn't even know about him? I mean, come on. Does that feel like a gimmick to anyone else? Like I said, they should have just made Christoph Waltz his own villain. Why couldn't they do that like they did with Javier Bardem or Le Chiffre in Casino Royale? And, keep them in Mexico, keep them in one location, and just, have Bond try to take him down. But no, they had to try to go big and tie in the events of all the other movies and tie in Bond's personal past like this. Like, the world's biggest villain just happens to be your brother. Come on. That's a huge gimmick that really kind of ruined the plot. It's just another big flaw with the movie for me, and I really didn't like. Again, I liked that I like that element that he was Bond's brother, but make him his brother just being his own villain, doing his own thing. You can't also be the world's biggest terrorist. Come on, that's didn't work for me. But again, I give Spectre a B. Not a terrible Bond movie. Probably still better than a lot of the older Bond movies. But after watching it, I just feel like going home and watching Casino Royale or Skyfall. So that's my movie review for Spectre. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked it. And comment, let me know what you thought of the movie, if you agree or disagree with any of my thoughts on it. And don't forget to check out a really cool app that I'll leave my link for in the description. It's called Shopkick. Great app. I've been promoting it in all of my videos. It's just a great way, a free opportunity, an opportunity to earn free gift cards when you walk into stores, and you can check that out in the description. But check that out, download it, and check out my movie review for the Peanuts movie. Take care, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.